right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are getting into a question that, it's something we all think about. Where do you find your security? I mean, what really makes you feel safe when the world out there feels, well, pretty unpredictable? So yeah, let's dive right in.
So just for a second, I want you to really ask yourself that. Where do you find it? Is it your job? The stability of a paycheck? Is it your relationships? Your partner? Your family? Maybe it's that savings account you've been building up. We all have something, right? Even if we don't say it out loud. But here's the twist. What if those very things, the things we cling to for safety, are actually leading us straight to the one thing we're trying to avoid?
And that is the really provocative idea we're going to unpack today. It comes from a spiritual text, A Course in Miracles, and it basically argues that our whole search for security, it might be totally backward, that it's flawed from the get-go. But it also points us to a completely different path, one that leads away from all that anxiety and toward a kind of peace that, well, that doesn't get shaken up so easily.
Okay, so to really get the heart of this lesson, we first need to know a little bit about its source. So this explainer is all about Lesson 261 from A Course in Miracles. And look, you don't need to be a scholar on the course or anything. All you really need to know for our purposes today is that it's a program all about shifting how we see things, specifically, shifting our minds from a place of fear to a place of love.
And that brings us right to the lesson's diagnosis of the problem. Why our usual ways of finding security just don't seem to work? Why they don't give us that lasting peace we're all after?
So, the lesson kicks off by talking about what it calls the material world. Now, this isn't just about cash or cars or, stuff. It's much bigger than that. It's the whole landscape of our external lives, our careers, our reputation, our relationships, all the things we've achieved. Basically, it's anything outside of us that we're leaning on to feel safe and secure. And here's the core argument, the real crux of it. The lesson says that trying to find security in all those external things, it's a total trap. And why? Well, because all of it is temporary, right? It's all transient. Jobs end, relationships evolve, our health isn't guaranteed. So according to this teaching, when we put all our trust in something so unreliable, we're not actually building security. We're creating anxiety. We're building fear. Because deep down we all know any of it could disappear.
Okay, so if the outside world is such a shaky foundation, then where the heck are we supposed to look? And this is where the lesson makes a really important turn. It pivots from diagnosing the problem to offering the solution, a source of safety that's inside us, one that is totally unshakable.
The key idea here is the word refuge. But listen, it's not talking about a physical place you can run and hide in. The lesson defines it as an internal state, a feeling of safety and protection that you carry with you. And it says the source of this refuge is the divine, or God if you use that word. It's a presence that's described as constant, unchanging, and always there, completely unlike the roller coaster of the material world.
And this chart really lays out the two different paths, side by side. On one hand, you've got worldly security. The source? It's all external, things, experiences, people. And the result? According to the lesson, it's fear and anxiety, because it's all so temporary. Then, on the other hand, you have divine security. Its source is completely internal, that connection to the divine. And the result of that? Lasting peace, real assurance, because its nature is constant and protective. So you see, the whole game is about shifting your focus from looking out there for safety to looking in here.
All right, that sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually do that? How do you make that shift? Well, the great thing is, the lesson doesn't just leave you with the idea, it gives you some really concrete, practical tools to start putting this into practice in your actual day-to-day life.
It all starts with this one simple sentence. This is really the cornerstone of the whole practice. It's an affirmation, right? A statement used to refocus your mind, to actively rewire your thinking from fear back to trust. And this single idea is the engine behind the three tools we're about to look at.
Okay,
So here are the tools. Step 1 is a meditation on safety. The idea is to literally visualize yourself surrounded by a kind of divine light while you repeat that affirmation. The whole point is to make that feeling of security something you can actually, well, feel. Make it tangible. Then there's step 2, journaling your fears. This one is really interesting. You look back at a time you felt really insecure, and you write about how turning to that inner refuge, how seeing it from a divine perspective, could have changed the whole experience. It's all about reframing your past. And finally, step 3 is just practicing those affirmations. Repeating phrases like, "In moments of uncertainty, I turn to God," especially when you're feeling stressed, to really reinforce that new mindset.
So what's the end game here? If you actually do this stuff, what's the payoff? What's the point of building up this internal security?
And this right here is the most important takeaway. The lesson is not promising you a life with zero challenges. I mean, that's just not realistic, right? Problems happen. Life is uncertain. What it is offering is a way to build a solid foundation of inner peace, a foundation of real assurance, so that when the storms of life do hit, you can face them from a place of stability and trust, instead of from a place of panic and fear. It's all about changing your internal reaction to whatever is happening externally.
So we're going to end right back where we started with a question for you. But it's a little different this time. It's not where do you find security anymore. Now it's how can you deepen your trust, especially when things get tough, when you feel uncertain. The lesson suggests that those hard times aren't just things to be endured. They're actually opportunities. They're chances to consciously practice turning inward, to practice strengthening that foundation of real, unshakable peace. And that's a really powerful thought to take with you.